it's not an actual toy where you can give a kid like a PlayStation where they can play themselves and they don't bother anyone and they are just on their corner or on their room playing the game. So what we want, quality time with their parents, with their grandparents. We actually want kids to have fun with their family.
Season 11 of CX in the Wild is live from across the world. From the buzzing streets of Tokyo to the creative pulse of Sao Paulo, we are on the ground, uncovering CX in its rawest form. This season, we're venturing into uncharted territory, exploring the edges of what's possible. So, let's begin.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to CX in the Wild. I'm recording. It is 5 a.m. in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm actually excited to be here today with Filipe from Portugal. As you know, I was recently in Portugal. I've discovered something interesting about Portugal, which is in terms of trust velocity, Portugal is one of the leading places in the world. Coincidentally, the other place that's very close is Brazil. So I'm just curious if there's something about the Portuguese language, maybe there's some shared cultures, but even more importantly, it's always nice to bring a voice from the other side of the world together from different time zones. And today I have Filipe. Filipe, welcome to CX in the Wild. We're doing this remote, but I would just love for you to start out by sharing with us who you are and what's keeping you busy these days.
Hey Dennis, thanks very much for the invitation. I'm looking forward for our conversation here. So my name is, as you said, I'm Filipe Ramos. I'm currently the CEO of Science for You. All my life, I wanted to be a businessman. That's what my parents were, and they still got their own family business. So I always wanted to be inside of this world. So I did my graduate. I did my master's in finance. I thought my entire career would be about investment banking. So I did a little bit around consulting, M&A, and so on. But then eventually I discovered that's not who I am. I love to work with small, medium enterprise companies, as we call nowadays in Portugal. And so that was my path since 2018. That I've been involved in small medium companies and trying to explore and have some growth, also international and on the online area. And that's where I am now at Science for You, very focused on the online and Amazon, also our subscription model.
Wow. You know, Filipe, a lot of the work that I've done around the world recently with governments is to really tap into the global microeconomics. There are so many digital nomads or small to medium sized businesses that are, I think, a hidden asset when it comes to a GDP for a major country. As an example, in Africa, this year we recently launched a workforce development program that gets people who would normally maybe struggling to find a job. It gets them into online microlearning, bridges the gap into employment, but the long-term view is to give them the work skills and the education so that they can build small to medium-sized businesses that are global e-commerce businesses. So I'm very excited. Why don't we talk about this small to medium-sized business? You know, what size is that, would you say?
So in Portugal, we call it like a medium-sized company eventually has 50 workers and is already, the turnover is around $5 million. So at the moment, Science for You has $10 million turnover and we work with more than 100 people. So, and we also have outsourcing. We also have lots of agents, lots of outsourcing people working for us, like design and so on. But firm people, we have more than 100 people in our firm, and that's how we evaluate in Portugal. The median company is around 5 to 10 million, and it's about 50 to 100 workers.
And do you, and with AI, let's be honest, if you had, for every one worker we had 5 years ago, that one person can do like five people's worth of work now with AI. So that number is, AI is making the smaller your business is, the stronger it is, the more nimble, the more accurate. And are you finding do you find different cities in Portugal, or do you find different parts of the world are accelerating faster into the global economy when they're, 50 people or so?
Yeah, for sure. For example, in Portugal, that has been a huge challenge for when I talk with small, medium enterprises and with the small entrepreneurs. It has been hard, and there's been a challenge to adapt the AI where they can actually save some people and save some costs. And internally, that has been a huge challenge. Even for us at Science for You, one of my challenges as a CEO was to not only increase growth and have growth on the company and increase the sales, but also have a good margin so the business can be viable. So our shareholders are a private equity fund. So that's one of the requirements for sure, that they wanted to be viable as a company. They wanted to have a good EBITDA, a good margin over sales, and that has been one of my challenges, to adapt the company and try to have a viable business. So one of my challenges was immediately that, how can I save some costs integrating AI? But it has been a challenge because it is really, first of all, that there's a big investment at the beginning, and then we have, so we don't have like plan Bs or backgrounds for the people who are currently working on the company. So it's very hard to implement AI when we have that. But for example, on the compliance team, because toys, as you know, it demands a lot of compliance and the regulation around the toys, we have been saving some costs with the AI, and it has been helping us a lot on this area, on this field.
Yeah, it is. The complexity is not just the technology. For some reason, we used to have beginner, intermediate, advanced learning. But now, because of the acceleration of AI and the different levels of aptitude, and these different branches, whether it's logic, whether it's writing, whether it's images, whether it's video, AI is having this ripple effect, and it improves almost any aspect of business where you can train someone to understand it and how to save time. So you're definitely in the right part of the transformation of the world. What do you, as a CEO, what are your goals? Are you trying to make Portugal better, or are you trying to build a bridge between nations? When you wake up in the morning, what is the mission that you're on, Filipe?
So my biggest mission, that's why I love so much the mission of Science for You, working in there. We always try to bring fun to the kids, but we also want them to learn from this fun. So our main slogan is have fun while learning. So we don't want just kids to play with a pen, to play with a plastic toy or something. We actually want them to build something around it. So for example, one of our most recent novelties is the dough factory. So we all kids love to work with dough. We have huge competition on the dough. They can buy dough everywhere, at Amazon, online, offline, whatever, and at the most competitive price. So what we want to do at Science for You, we want to teach kids how can you construct the dough. So dough doesn't come from the supermarket. We want them to learn how you can build it. So what we provide at Science for You is all the components and the manual, a very educational manual where kids actually learn how to do the dough from scratch. And for that, we want them to understand the chemicals, the reaction, of those chemicals. We want them to learn about the coloring. So at the end of the day, at Science for You, we just don't want kids to have fun. We actually want them to educate and form these young children to have fun, but also learn from these experiences. One of our most sorry.
When you say dough, what does that mean in English? Are you what is that?
I never know. I mean, it's our dough factory. In Portuguese, we call it plasticine. So I think you guys, how do you call in English? I think it's dough. It's like Play-Doh, Play-Doh. Everyone knows Play-Doh. So we construct the dough we give all the components. We have the salt, we have the corn flour, we have the cream tartar, we have bunch of things that we put inside the box so the kids can transform those components in actual dough.
And do you have slime also?
Yeah, we do. We do. It's one of our best items. Also, of course, to do slime from scratch. But there's a lot of people a lot of toy companies doing the toy, the slime, do it yourself. But actually, the dough, it was the first toy in the world to do your own dough from scratch. So we were the one launching it. We won a prize in the UK from the toy entrepreneur, and it has been a huge success since last year, and we are very excited with the continuities of this range.
Okay, so you're using play as learning, and you're scaling. Just walk me through. I want to understand as a CEO, you are touching the frontier of AI. You are touching early learning. I'm curious about that because I used to be a teacher, and I recognize learning as the bridge to a lot of things. I've built a bridge with some partners for adults and the unemployed in emerging markets to rapidly move people through education into businesses, into the GDP. But that's the same thing you're doing. You're reaching a broad audience. You're giving them a way to learn and become better and smarter. Think about chemicals, think about cause and effect, think about correlation and chemistry and mathematical thinking. What age group is your target product for?
Our age group, we have items from baby until 12, 14 years old, but where we are strongest on is on the 4+, 6+, and 8+ items. Okay, but our toy Science for You is not the current toy, especially as you were saying, it's all around the STEM. It's all around the STEM category, and it's not an actual toy where you can give a kid like a PlayStation where they can play themselves and they don't bother anyone and they are just on their corner on their room playing the game. So what we want to have a quality time with their parents, with their grandparents. We actually want kids to have fun with their family. We just don't want them to play themselves alone. Because we have an online manual where it actually explains all the experiences from the beginning to the end of the toy. And it requires parent supervision. For example, the example I was giving you, the dough factory, it was constructed for a 4+ kid. So a 4 years kid, 5 years kid, they can't read so well, of course. So they need the parent supervision, their parents' attention to go with inside the toy, right? So from the beginning to scratch, and it helps and improves the quality time between parents and kids. So that's what we are trying to construct at Science for You. It's not just a toy. We want kids to have fun, but we also the kids to have fun with the families and have a good quality time in there.
All right. So one of my clients is the leading early childhood education company for the entire United States. I just think it would be so fun to do a collaboration because they have learning in the classrooms all over the country. And social emotional learning is both happens with other students, but it also happens with their parents. And it would be so fun, Philippe, if one of the outcomes of our conversation today is maybe just a collaboration in one market in the United States to introduce this aspect of play and learning with parents and other students. I can just see every student going home, having a wonderful night with their parents, all bringing their dough to class the next day. Who knows what could happen?
Yeah, that would be great, Dennis. That would be great, and it would be a huge outcome from this conversation for sure. We are trying to do the same thing here in Portugal. So in Portugal, we actually have lots of protocols with public schools, with private schools, where kids at the end of their day, for example, they finish school at 4 5 p.m. and they can actually stay in school and play with our toys. So that's what we're trying to bring with our materials, with our raw materials, and also try to construct something from there. We have many protocols with public and private schools where kids can actually stay at the school after the day and just stay there and learn and have fun. And the same in the US. We just launched a subscription model where every month a kid can actually receive an item from Science for You and then play with their parents and with their grandparents. One big curiosity is this subscription model. We have more than 200 people already receiving a monthly item in the US. So the biggest demand is from grandparents. It's not from parents. So 70% of our customers are more grandparents than parents that actually want to play with their grandson, with their granddaughter, and have fun with Science for You. That has been a huge success in the US.
It makes total sense. And in the US, an amazingly untapped market is the nanny or the au pair. Having a little learning activity inside a nanny's toolkit would be so nice as a product line, in the US. I'm not sure how it works everywhere in the world, but that sounds. And so this is really a great conversation because, correct me if I'm wrong, you and I are trying to get together when you come to the U.S. Are you coming to the U.S.?
Yeah, I'm coming to the US in September. I'll be there around 2 weeks. I'll come from 7 to 20 of September. I'll be in our office, in our showroom in LA, where is the city of toys, as you know. And yeah, I'll be there for 2 weeks.
So Joan has already blocked a week for me to be in LA just on this topic. And what I can do is I can bring one of my camera crew teams is in LA, so very easy to get more polished content. And it would be really interesting if we did a little planning to showcase this work. I could bring some senior executives from my client because they also have an outpost in LA. So it'd be very interesting to get you and my client together, get some content around the ideas that you're innovating in play and learning, and share those experiences around the world. Are your products available on Amazon?
Yeah, it's our number one client. So Amazon, we are present in the 6 Amazons in Europe. So Amazon Spain, Amazon UK, Amazon Italy, Amazon Germany, all Amazons are under Europe. And last year, 2024, we launched in the US, and we are still on the seller model. In Europe, we are on the vendor model since we are We have full representation on the distribution. Of course, we are the owners, and so for now the US is on the seller model, but it has been improving a lot, and there has been a lot of growth this year. We expect sales to increase a lot this year, and yeah, we do have a lot of offer at Amazon, but also on Walmart.com. By the way, we also entered Walmart.com 1 month ago. We had our first sale, so we are already present in there.
Wow. I'm always grateful to the way the universe works. I spent a little time in Lisbon. Our producer team reaches out. They make these connections to have a chance to share with you in this journey, to tell your story, connect you to one of the most innovative and also entrenched early learning childhood education companies. Here in the US, I think a collaboration makes sense. I think I can see you potentially doing bundled offerings. I think that there's just so much that can be done. You know, what you're really doing, in my opinion, is you're helping adapt the world. So here's my take. Hot take. It's my podcast. I can say whatever I want.
Yeah, of course.
What I have found, and because I travel around the world, I see two distinct thought processes. So in the Western cultures, let's use the United States as an example. Business, if you peel back the veneer or the cover of business, maybe it's because we had such success in computers and in cars early on, 100 years ago. A lot of our business thinking is around engineering and around logic, but what it's done is it's made business people overly conscientious or overly focused on having the right answer. So in engineering, you know, if you get the engineering wrong on a building, it doesn't stand up. So there's a mindset, a cultural mindset of engineering, logic to an answer. Now, when I go to other countries, I see thinking and adaptation as a strength. And I'll give you an example there.
All right.
I just recently did an in-depth study about the customer experiences of the lounges for all the major airlines in the world. Because I was sitting in a lounge and I was like, why does this lounge suck? And why is this one great? And I found out in the research, Eastern-ish airlines, they have a different mindset. Western mindsets are about the engineering, the supply chain, the efficiency of the airline, where on the other side of the globe, they're focused on the culture and the experience of being in these lounges. And the result is the lounge becomes a innovation lab for, in the Eastern, you know, Emirates, Turkish, all these airlines, they use their lounges as a innovation lab. They test and learn there. Whereas in the US, you have like Delta and American, their lounges are completely pragmatic. Can they create value? Can they move people through? But the experience, the culture, the thinking, the newness, the innovation is entirely lost. And the reason I tell you that story is all around the world, people do business differently. But in the next not so distant future, the next sprint, the next 5 to 10 years, AI will take care of most of the answers, and it will start to diminish the economic power and value of cultures, communities, governments who have this far been successful in engineering, supply chain, assembly line logic and thinking and specific answers. Those businesses will become the ones that fade from glory. And businesses who give up planning and answers in favor of agility and learning, those companies will adapt very well to the rest of the world. Meaning, your work, the work of helping children be creative, understand relationships and systems and outcomes, your business, it's not just kind of cool, it's going to be central to every country in the world that is having kids.
Yeah, it's absolutely true, Dennis, and that's a big curiosity. Before that, let me just tell you, because you were telling this of your journey in Lisbon, I would have loved to be with you in Lisbon and show you around, have a great dinner with you, because Portuguese people love food. I would have loved to be with you, but we didn't have the chance. I hope we have in the next time you come. Please let me know, and be very pleasant to receive you in our country. About what you're saying, yeah, it's absolutely true. There are also some researchers that say that kids that actually play with STEM toys and with STEM products like Science for You, they actually perform better, and they are more innovative and perform better, have a better career, a more successful career than the ones that don't perform. Of course, this is just a statistics, but we are actually very confident that we are constructing future brains and people that actually are going to make a difference in the world. And I'm a father now, and my kid is 2 years old, and I'm very concerned about that. Of course, I want him to experience these toys, these STEM toys, but it actually creates a lot of innovation and a lot of creativity around. And that's what I want for my kid, and that's what I want for all the kids that perform the toys of Science for You, of course.
Yes. Curiosity and creativity are going to beat smart and intelligent for the next 50 years easily. And so you're at the right point. I'm very excited. Just so you know, I did block out 7 days to be in LA specifically for you.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm very appreciated.
I will head to Brazil. What is your exposure or footprint into Brazil, since you share kind of a dialect of a language?
Yeah. We have the same language, Portuguese. Brazil used to be a good market for us. In the past, we actually had two big distributors distributing our toys in there. But at the moment, because of the high taxation, what we are experiencing now with Trump, but the high taxation in Brazil is actually very hard for them to buy toys from Portugal, because the taxation is high and the product arrives very, very expensive. So at the moment, we don't have many plans, at least on the offline side, but we want to be at Brazil, Amazon Brazil, in 2 years' time. That's our main goal.
Tell me more about this legislation, and I'm curious about that. And the reason I ask is I will be the keynote speaker at the nation's gathering of retailers. So the CEOs of all the major retailers, there'll be representation from the highest levels of government there. And, again, I don't do this for money. I do this for what I believe in. And having a product like yours, if even I just present it as a case study of what will happen over the next 21 years from birth to 21, that evolution cycle or that generational evolution, toys like yours, thinking like yours, also my other client would be interesting, but I could incorporate your story into that presentation, and it's very relevant because it's a Portuguese culturally relevant emergent asset for the world. Number two, if there was a way for me to help you get on shelves at retail or get into Amazon, this is the reason why the world puts us together from 9,000 miles away is what are we supposed to help each other with? So when we get to LA, we could do some content that explains what we're talking about here beyond as a follow-up to this podcast. We could create an example or a cultural insight for the world that relates to children learning and the future economies. It could be easily translated into Portuguese, and I could present that if that's something you're interested in working
No,
on.
I am, of course, and thank you very much for all the support you can give us and you are willing to give us. I'm very appreciated. Thank you, Dennis. That would be amazing for us.
So tell me what the barriers are in this taxation or these tariffs. What the heck? Like, why do we have to make it so hard
I know.
to help each other? But tell me what the barriers are there.
So, first of all, toys require a lot of regulation in terms of compliance and in terms of test reports. We have 3 people working at Science for You, just working on this compliance, on these test reports. And the test reports vary from country to country. For example, in the US, we entered last year, as I was telling you, at Amazon US. And one of our challenge was that the test reports that you performed in Europe weren't the same that performed the US. So the US was more concerned about, for example, small components that 4-year-old kids or 6-year-old could swallow, and of course we don't want that. So the regulation was different. So we had to adapt the toy, or we had to adapt the cost of the components, or even make new test reports in order to enter in these markets that we are willing to have a presence at Science for You. So that's one of the barriers here. The second one, as we were saying, is the taxation. As you know now, the taxation for Europe, Trump has finally got a decision. It's around 10%, but it was 30 already. And for Brazil, we're talking about 50%. Of course, there are a lot of ways to go around this taxation. A lot of companies in Europe, they export, like, instead of the toy itself, they export the components, and then they assemble the toy within the country, for example, in Brazil. So the taxation is a little lower. There are a lot of ways for us to go around a little bit, but Brazil has been a challenge for that because the taxation is really high. I don't understand where we are talking about countries that speak the same language. We have lots of protocols, and it doesn't make any sense because we could just help each other. But the thing is that at the moment, the taxations are real and they're very high.
Yeah. You know what's interesting to me about, just to bring this podcast to kind of a close, is, what I know about AI that most people don't know is AI, I think, predominantly comes from Portuguese speaking people. And what I mean by that is it's been my experience that the vast majority of algorithms that are the genesis or the building blocks of AI have come from Portuguese speaking engineers, whether they're in Brazil or in Portugal. And there is a relationship between the present and the future, meaning I'd be willing to bet children of families with engineers who have been pioneering AI for the last 30 years, your toy is probably a crucial factor in the development of the children in those families. Just my hunch. It's my hot take. That's all I'm saying. So,
I would say the same.
and so you agree with me.
Yes, of course, and is a way.
What makes you think that my crazy American hunch, like, because what I just said is pretty abstract and out there. Most people would be like, "What? Why do you confer with that?"
No, I confirm because we actually have some studies, current studies that explain exactly what you were saying, and it's pretty logical. If you give a kid from the beginning of their age, instead of giving them a PlayStation or giving them like a VC car for them to play by themselves, if you can actually offer your kids educational toys where they have to construct the toy, even in small parts of engineering, or we also have our robotics line, for example, that it's pretty around engineering. And if they actually perform those toys from the early ages, of course they develop a lot of interest around this, and they will actually have this area of interest in the future. It's like, as I was saying, when I was young. So my experience was to see my parents selling in the stores, selling in their warehouse, B2B, B2C. So my idea when I was going to university, it was immediately like, that's what I wanted to follow. It's the same, it's business. That's what I've been watching. That's what I've been accompanying over the years. And it's the same thing for a kid of 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. If you give them these science kits, these STEM kits that we sell, and the kids perform from the early stage, of course they will develop this area of interest, and we are creating future engineers, as you can say.
You're creating future engineers, but you're also creating future large learning models with humans. It's an interesting overlap. Well, Filipe, I'm very excited. I think after this podcast, we'll create content from here, and I'll have our producers begin. I know you'll be very busy, but potentially maybe we can. I can follow you around with my film crew from LA there to get some official content. I can make some introductions to a national learning company here. I definitely would love to be at the center of facilitating a collaboration between the two of you, because I think they're important. And in that process, I will leave LA and head straight over to Brazil for a couple of weeks to meet with the largest retailers in the market, meet with the government, give this keynote. And I think there is something about dough that's going to be crucial to technology as it emerges. And I would love to I'm just listening to the universe, bro. If these connections are meant to happen, we need the content to be able to do that, and we need the science, and I can do some research to bridge these gaps. I recently spent the last 3 months building a vast library of AI agents that do pattern recognition over topics, populations, companies. And so I might be able to do my own research to bridge this gap for you, but it sounds like we have a lot of important new ideas to bring to the world. So thank you for being on the show.
No, for sure. For sure, Dennis. Thank you very much. Yeah, our agenda in LA is always full because the first week is for the American customers and the second week is for international customers. But I will for sure find the time to be with you. It will be my pleasure to welcome you in our showroom. We also have our partner in the US representing Science for You. It's a sales rep agency called Two Skies. But still, we are inside the big showroom. It will be very, very pleasant from my side to receive you in our showroom and have a pleasant day with you, explaining you everything around our toys, create some content, introduce you to our customers, even listen to their feedback, and it's going to be lovely.
How now do you have a physical presence in there, or are you in sort of a modern shared space or an incubator? What is your showroom? Are you setting up a pop-up international showroom?
No, it's a physical showroom. It's in an area called El Segundo in LA, very near the airport. I'm sure you know, of course. And it's where Mattel is. It's where Hasbro is. All the big companies are. And we are all actually across from Mattel, so we can actually see Mattel from our showroom. And it's a physical showroom for all the year. Okay, we constructed this showroom 1 year ago when we decided to enter in the US in 2024, online and offline. So we constructed this showroom, and yeah, we have this showroom there for all the year.
And I assume you have a lot of connections over at Mattel and other places that you're collaborating with.
Yes.
Okay, because what might be interesting is for me and you to do an international collaborative experience workshop and invite all of those people. I have obviously connections at Mattel, major toy companies, but it might be fun just for us to offer a free 1 hour, maybe it's a lunch and learn, maybe it's something else, but it'd be nice to gather some people at your showroom too. So all ideas on mine, but Filipe, I've taken so much of your time, and I know you're with your family. Thank you for spending time.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
I've spoken so much. What is it that you'd like to share with the world? Your voice, what you're trying to accomplish. What would you like to share with the world right now?
What would I like to share? That's a good question. So as I was saying, since I was a father, that I looked at the children in a very different way, and even at Science for You, it's since I have decided to go on this project, that my life changed a lot, and the mission changed, and with my son. So all I want for now is for kids to have lots of fun, to grow stable without any kind of wars, and just in the world experiencing our toys, or even different toys, and also have quality time with their families. That's what we are very worried, because we see parents busy. We are all busy, and I see lots of parents that just come home and decide to give their kids something so they can actually do their job at home, and even the wife or for the husband helping themselves and do the routine. But we actually want for parents to have more quality time with their kids, and perform better with their families. That's my mission at Science for You, and that's my mission as a father of a 2-year-old boy now.
Okay, Filipe, we're going to continue on this mission. Thank you for
Thank you very much, Danny.
What time it is? Is it
now? It's 2 p.m. in Portugal.
All right. This podcast started at 5 a.m. The sun has risen here. I've watched it. Thank you for your time, and
thank you, Dennis.
We'll be in touch more. We'll produce this content, and just thank you so much for being on CX in the Wild.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you very much.
CX is shaped where people live, work, and connect. Thank you for being a part of this journey. There's more to discover, more to challenge, and more to create. So stay curious, and we'll see you out there.